Sorry, I was on mute. Good evening, everyone. My name is RDL, and I'm a second year student studying at UC Berkeley. And I would like to welcome each and every one of you for our kind of like this, actually, our last event for the year. This is VOT5 Presents, honoring the life and legacy of Dr. Rizal. So just to give a brief intro on what VOT5, our organization, is all about, Voices of the Film Youth is a US-based coalition of Filipinx and Filipinx American students, educators, and community organizers who share a vision of empowering Filipinx American youth through critical engagement and discourses that speaks to their diasporic and transnational identities. And through different platforms, we aim to educate and be educated by our diverse experiences, networks with Filipinx and Filipinx American educators and icons, and their solidarity work in their respective communities. So with this event, we would just like to give a brief intro again of the December 30 event, which is a very important date for Filipinos. Yes. So to provide a brief history of Rizal Day, December 30th, we are actually commemorating the 124th death anniversary of the Philippines' highly acclaimed national hero, Dr. Rizal. And according to the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, General Emilio Aguinaldo, who also became the first president of the Philippines, issued a decree on December 20th, 1898, commemorating the poet's death. And that is also named as National Day of Mourning for the country. And ever since then, Filipinos back in the Philippines commemorate the national hero's life and death in various ways. And as for the Filipino-American community, folks from different communities commemorate this historic day through different community gatherings, wreath-laying ceremonies, and essay competitions. And VOT5 aims to increase awareness of Rizal Day, Dr. Rizal's timeless contributions, and the various ways in which we can commemorate the national hero's legacy. And although we are operating on a virtual platform, we seek to commemorate his life and legacy despite our physical limitations, since we have this digital platform going on. So to start us off with this event, CTFOC, the Council for Teaching Filipino Language and Culture, actually performed Ako'y Pilipino in last year's Filipino Independence Day. So please welcome the CTFOC. All right. Thank you so much, CTFLC, for that heartfelt tribute performance for of Ako'y Pilipino. So today's event is actually very extra special because I will be joined by two of the most respected community leaders in San Diego, California. But before that, I would like to invite you all to please follow and subscribe to Vodfi account, to our Vodfi accounts. We have a Facebook page that is Voices of the Filipino American Youth. And we also have a Twitter. It's at Philam Voices. And we'd just like to remind our viewers that they can send in their questions, their comments in the chat section, and we will be monitoring them. And again, happy belated Merry Christmas. And for those of you in the Philippines, it is only a few hours left, and you will be celebrating 2021. So advance Happy New Year as well. We would just like to remind everyone to please take care, stay safe, and follow safety protocols and guidelines. Wear masks and social distancing. Although all of us are, in this situation, we still want us to celebrate safely. All right. So, without further ado, we would like to welcome Ginang Dita Simane of the Mabuhay Foundation. And we also have Binibining Joanne Fields of the Asian Pacific Islander Initiative. All right, good evening po, good evening Ginang and Binibining Joanne. Thank you so much for joining me today for Rizal Day. Although we are on a virtual platform, we really appreciate your time and effort in commemorating this event for Vodfi.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Argel. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Good evening to all. Thank you to the Filipino students and of course to Ginang Magat Lapid for making this effort reality for us to be able to commemorate the 124th anniversary of our Philippine national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. Ako po si Dita Siamani. I'm here with Miss Joanne Fields. Joanne?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. I am so excited to meet with all of you. Although it is virtual, that just shows how resilient we are, because historically we have celebrated this in person. This our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. So we had to pivot, which is great that we even have the opportunity, because now we can reach people even further than San Diego. And we do have a special guest. We'll announce him shortly. But while I have your attention, please take the time at the moment to share. Share this broadcast with your network, whether you're tuning in on Facebook or YouTube or any other social media platform, so that we can reach the masses, so that the community at large knows who Dr. Jose Rizal and the principles that we all stand on.
Thank you, Joanne. And of course, a very quick overview of what we have done before. The previous years, we do commemorate annually this celebration or the commemoration of the anniversary of our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. We offer flowers, and we have our representatives from the Philippine government, usually our Consul General or our Honorary Consul Audie De Castro, Attorney Audie De participate in this very commemorative event. We have our Jose Rizal bus, as we all know, here in National City, which is the Manila or the Philippines in National City, the capital of the Philippines in the U.S., as our former Mayor Ron Morrison had established or had indicated, because of the Filipino American businesses that thrive here in the South Bay in San Diego. So we gather all our community. We celebrate our anniversary there, in commemoration of the anniversary of Dr. Jose Rizal, and then we offer flowers, and then we dedicate the event to those leaders and the members of the community who really are our heroes, continuing to serve our community, not only our Filipino American community, but our community in general. Joanne?
Hello, everyone. Yes. So again, historically, this celebration is along with the Dr. Jose Rizal bus that is located in front of the National City Seafood City Plaza. And there are a number of organizations that uh, convene for the celebration, including the Council of Filipino American Organizations, COPAL. As mentioned by Ditas, our local elected officials, our honorary Philippine Consulate attorney Adi Di Castro, and of course with our teachers, our students, our Filipino Women's Club, and we want to make sure that his legacy continues. We don't want to wait until the curriculum is written in ethnic studies. It is up to us to continue his legacy and again build on the principles of Dr. Jose Rizal as we celebrate tonight.
Joanne, before we introduce our representative, who um, in the meantime, I would like to mention that I mean, in the midst of this pandemic, our frontliners, mostly Filipino American nurses, doctors, firefighters, I mean, all those frontliners who are risking their lives to serve our nation in these very difficult times, we really see heroism in all of us that is truly, truly inspiring. And with that, Joanne, maybe we can introduce our guest who inspires us with his leadership.
Yes, I'm searching for my list, and I need to mention that we did scramble for today's program. This was just a few hours in the making. But again, with the resiliency and the production with our voices of the Philam youth, along with Ditas, Ginang Jackie, and Maria from the CTFLC, we were able to pull this program together because this is not our first time. It will definitely not be our last. So while I pull up the program so I can read off the list of our special guests. Again, please take the time to share this video, especially if it is on your Facebook groups. You can also share it there so that we can reach the masses near and far. So we have our special guests. We have our California State Assembly member, Rob Bonta. He will be joining us shortly. We also will have a special message from Ginang Maria Fontemayor, President of the Council of Teaching Filipino Language and Culture. We will also be joining us, Ginong Sal Idos. We will also be joined by Marcus Frazier, the Mayor Mesa High School Philam Club co-president. So, Ditas, if you will, because I know we have a few minutes. We have about 5 minutes until our assembly member will be joining us. I think we should also talk about the outcomes that we have. We'll have a call to action for all of you to make sure that this is not just a one-day celebration. We need to continue the legacy, continue the advocacy of Dr. Jose Rizal.
Thank you, Joanne. Of course, I think the leadership that our younger generation are showing um, to us right now, not only to us, leaders of this community, but also to the community in general. Like the group of Vot Faye that is led by Argel and Alan, and of course under the guidance of Ginang Jackie Magatlapid. We would like to thank you. Maraming salamat po sa inyong leadership. I would encourage you to please continue the leadership, the advocacy the assertiveness that we that you put forth to our younger generation and to the seniors alike, right? So it's really an inspiration. This commemoration of the 124th is not just a commemoration, but it's a continuation of reminding us or inspiring us to continue to serve um, to the community that we do love, and you know, I mean, that's in our hearts. You know, we continue to promote our language and our culture as Filipinos here in, as Americans, with a Filipino heart here in the United States of America.
And speaking of the U.S., according to the U.S. Census Bureau, we are the second largest Filipino community outside of Manila, here in San Diego County. We are the second largest ethnicity after Latinos in the county of San Diego. And amongst all Asian Pacific Islanders, nearly half are of Filipino descent. So that is something to really reflect on, of the power of the Filipino vote, the power of the Filipino voice, and to make sure that we carry that privilege to the election, to redistricting that's up and coming, and so that we get our fair share of the American pie. The motto I have, that especially for our first generation uh, Filipinos like my parents, I believe that they're chasing the American dream. But for the second generation, their children and our children's children, it is our responsibility to get our fair share of the American pie. And the way we do that is to use our voices like Dr. Jose Rizal, and to make sure we advocate, like for our frontliners, our essential workers. We know that we are about a quarter of the healthcare workers in the state of California are of Filipino descent. And in some healthcare institutions were even higher than that. If you walk into a skilled nursing facility, we have very high numbers of employees there, of caregivers, but also essential workers include our folks working in the grocery stores, the people that are cleaning and making sure that the hospitals are safe and clean. So we need to make sure we remember them, but also to remain vigilant and follow the COVID-19 protocols, because there is no discrimination against ethnicity. Financial status does not matter when it comes to COVID-19. And it's not just the elderly that are being hard hit. There are young people that have been affected by COVID-19 and are in ICU. And unfortunately, some have passed as well. So please, again, follow the protocols of COVID-19, and make sure we do all that we can to make sure that we keep ourselves safe. We have these guidelines that our source is the World Health Organization. Stay at home as much as possible. Make sure you wear your mask and wear it properly over your nose and mouth. And make sure you wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. Soap and water, sanitizer will work as well. But the best way is to stay home. And again, that is why we are celebrating this evening. Our Dr. Jose Rizal celebration is online, so that we do limit our contact, and you have the convenience of being at home for this celebration. So I just received the text. Assembly Member Rabanta will be joining us any moment now. So if our producers, again, the voices of the Phil-Am youth, not only are on the program, they are producing the program. They have all the technology know-how, and Ditas and I are just trying to keep up and cope. So thank you all for being flexible with us while we get it together. And if Alan, if you would check the backstage for our special guest. Okay. And while our special guest is coming forward, uh, and he is in backstage, everyone, I'm going to read his bio so that you can get him on to front stage with us. But Assembly Member Rob Bonta was elected to the California State Assembly's 18th District in 2012, where he represents the cities of Oakland, Alameda, and San Leandro. He became the first Filipino American state legislator in California's then 160 plus year history, the first Filipino American. He is very passionate. His passion for opportunity and equality was instilled in him at a very young age by his parents, who taught him to understand injustice and the importance of joining the struggle to empower vulnerable and disadvantaged communities. His father was involved in the civil rights movement and stood with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the Deep South, marching for equality and justice in Selma. His mother was and continues to be a longtime leader in the Filipino social justice movement. Growing up in a trailer a stone's throw away from Cesar Chavez's home, Bonta watched closely as his parents worked for the United Farm Workers of America and organized Filipino and Mexican American farm workers, infusing his formative years with firsthand experience of one of the greatest peaceful social, racial, and economic justice movements of all time. This has made a huge impact on Rob's life's choices and pursuits, inspiring his life's commitment to helping people. He, Rob believed legal training was one of the most powerful ways to effective positive change in lives of those who need it most. He worked his way through college, cleaning laundry, cleaning laundry rooms, and with the help of financial aid, was able to achieve his dream of going to college and law school, obtaining his Juris Doctorate from Yale Law School after attending Yale College and Oxford University in England. Earning honors in college, Rob was also a scholar athlete, cap- captaining the Yale soccer team. He also paved the way for the advancement of students of color as a mentor and worked with children and families in nearby public housing neighborhoods. I would like to introduce all of you to Assembly Member Rob Bonta. Adriel.
Yes. I think the some member is not here yet.
Oh,
We're still waiting for him
oh,
to.
he text me. He's in. He's waiting.
Oh, okay.
He said it's in the back
He's in backstage.
backstage.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience.
Yeah, just to also mention, Joanne, that this is a national holiday in the Philippines, and it is known as the Araw ng Kabayanihan ni Dr. Jose Rizal. This marks the 124th anniversary of his execution in 1896. I encourage our younger generation to, if they have the chance to read Noli Me Tangere or El Filibusterismo. These are inspiring novel from Dr. Jose Rizal. I think nasa maling stream si assembly member. Is he on the right stream? He's in backstage, he said.
Yes. And I'm going to make sure.
Argel?
I think we are currently sending the correct link.
Okay. Argel, why don't you go to the next one while we can take care of the next item in our program, so then we can also make sure the assembly member is not hurrying up. Maybe he's on a different link.
Yeah, of course. So just to give kind of like, a fun side to our event, we actually prepared and researched some facts and trivia about the highly acclaimed national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. The first of which is actually his full name. I think most people would kind of like know that his full name is just Jose Rizal, right? But in actuality, his full name is actually Jose Protasio Rizal Mercado y Alonso Rialonda. And I remember this since I attended school in the Philippines, that his name is actually one of kind of like the brain teasers um, in kind of like in Philippine history, because it's kind of like it's pretty long, and at the same time, you mess up like one of his name, and it's kind of like it's wrong already. And the second trivia is that Dr. Zerzal is a polyglot. He actually can speak 22 languages. And towards the end of his life, this is our third trivia. He was exiled in the Pitan. So if I can have that's actually just the first part of our trivia. But now I think we can have Ginang Ditas and Meaning Fields, Joanne Fields, to come back.
Argel, ang haba ng pangalan, ano?
It's
Argel, ang haba ng pangalan, ano?
The brain teaser po talaga.
Papasukin niya sa assembly member.
Yes.
Baka humaba rin yung pangalan niya. Ayan na siya.
Yes. Yay! Technology, don't we love it all?
Good evening, assembly member. Magandang gabi po sa inyo.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you. And I'd like to share a little bit. Okay. I'd like to share a little bit more on his bio, because it is an important piece, especially with the opportunity that we have very soon with a possible appointment. If we can rally all of our Filipino friends and family, all of our allies in the Latino, African American, and Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander communities, and just all of California, we should know that Assembly Member Rob Bonta, his legal career also includes Deputy City Attorney for the City and County of San Francisco, where he represented the city and county and its employees as a private attorney, where he fought to protect Californians for exploitation and racial profiling. Rob was undefeated at trial, never losing a jury verdict for his clients. Rob began his career as a public elected official at the local level, first as the director of the Alameda Healthcare District and later as vice mayor of the city of Alameda. In the state assembly, Bonta serves as an assistant majority leader. He serves on the Appropriations, Communications, and Conveyance, Governmental Organization, and Health committees. But he does have an opportunity to possibly be appointed to be the first California's first Filipino Attorney General. And I want to bring that up because this is a time we are celebrating our strongest advocate in the Philippines. And again, we stand on Dr. Jose Rizal's shoulders. So to welcome all of us, we have been blessed with the presence of California State Assembly Member Rob Bonta. Welcome, Assembly Member.
Thank you. Am I on, not on mute? Okay, good. Usually I talk on mute. That's the first thing I do on Zoom and other calls and StreamYard. But hi, everybody. Joanne, thank you for your friendship, for the kind words, for the introduction. And good to see everybody here. And I'm honored to be with you. And I hope you're healthy, safe, and well. I know these are challenging times for all, and appreciate your leadership, your engagement, the work that you do, the work that we're doing today to uplift the life and legacy of Jose Rizal. all the incredible youth leadership work that's being done, and the empowerment work to support and uplift and promote our Filipino American community. So I'm very excited to be here. Honored to be the first Filipino American state legislator in the history of California. I was born in the Philippines, came here when I was 2 months old. My mom's an immigrant from the Philippines, raised in Dumaguete, went to UP Diliman. I was born in St. Luke's Hospital in Quezon City. And both my parents were social justice advocates, which was something that they instilled in me. That spirit of helping others has led to a career in public service, and so I'm just thankful and honored to be here with all of you. And I think the spirit and the life and legacy of Jose Rizal is always so important to remember, to recall, to allow to inspire us as we continue our work. Because I think it's so defining of who we are as a Filipino people, Filipino American people, and Filipinos in the Philippines. It's his spirit, his life and legacy is one of fighting for independence, fighting for self-determination, fighting for justice and fairness and opportunity and equity. And that's who we've been as a community over the many years, driving change, uplifting our community and other communities, collaborating with others, and righting wrongs. And I'm so proud of that legacy of our Filipino American community, whether it be fighting for and gaining the independence from Spain, fighting against martial law and the Marcos dictatorship until the restoration of democracy, fighting against American neocolonialism until we had independence, or right here in the United States and in California, starting the farm worker movement in California with the Delano Grape Strike of 1965, led by the incredible Larry Itliong, and the Agricultural Workers Organizing Committee, and reaching out to Cesar Chavez and the National Farm Workers Association, and creating the United Farm Workers of America, one of the most incredible movements for social justice and racial and economic justice, and for workers' rights in the history of our nation and our people. And we started it. We were on the vanguard, the front lines, making it happen, risking it all to make our world better. And I'm proud that my parents were involved with the United Farm Workers of America movement. We lived in the headquarters of La Paz, and my mom hosted the great Philip Veracruz, and he would come to La Paz. We had him in our trailer that we lived in, which was a stone's throw away from the home of Cesar Chavez for Filipino breakfast. So I think that legacy is so important to remember, to be proud of, to allow it to inspire us as we move forward and continue our change. I'm proud of who we are as a Filipino American community, the largest Asian American community in the state of California, fastest growing. We're not just large, but we're talented and fierce and powerful. And we have incredible leaders in all walks of life, in all professions, and in areas where leadership and change is important. So thankful for all that we've done, and always so inspired by our next generation, our young people. And appreciate the opportunity to spend time with you today. So welcome. I'm excited to be here, and thank you for your ongoing work. Please see me as a partner as we continue to make things better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assembly Rob Banta. You, of course, inspire us, most especially the younger generation who are with us tonight. And we are proud of for your continuing to serve us, not only the Filipino Americans, Asian Americans, but the community in general. We are thankful for you making a life a little bit better for all of us here in California. Maraming salamat, Assembly Member. We look forward to your continued partnership with us here in San Diego County, and of course the whole entire California. Most especially, we look up to you as our next Attorney General for the state of California, sir. And we wish you all the luck, sir. Manigong bagong taon po sa inyo. Happy New Year. May our 2021 be kind and be a healthier year for all of us.
Thank you. Maraming salamat po, and Happy New Year to all. Be healthy, safe, and well. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for joining us. I'm sorry, I have technical difficulties on my end. So I'm going to log off and see if that will help in the audio. So again, I apologize, and I'm gonna hand it over to my co-host with Ditas and Adriel because again, I'm having Wi-Fi issues.
Thank you so much. Always been very active, advocating for namin the Filipino Americans, or for all of us here in San Diego County and in California. Again, reminding all of you to please be safe, be well. We continue to serve however we can in our small little way, inspiring our younger generation and providing service to our seniors here in San Diego County, to show the heroism in all of us that truly inspires everyone. Ako po si Ditas Yamani, wishing you all a very kind and healthy Happy New Year. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Maraming salamat, Argel. Thank you all to everyone, and magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you so much, Ginang Ditas, and I think Binibidyo Fields will come back. They will be back after, again, in behalf of VOTFE, we would just like to express our gratitude for Ginang Yamane, for Binibidyo Fields, and for California State Assembly Member Rob Anta for sharing this virtual space with us tonight. It's really a big pleasure to have, these names on our platform. We are here, and Assembly Member Rob Anta's presence as an assembly member and a politician really means so much for the community. That means that we have someone who will listen to us, who will advocate for us, and it transcends beyond more than just representation. Once again, thank you so much, and please take care. And moving forward to our next part of the program, we actually have some messages from our various leaders, community leaders. The first one being Gina Maria Fontemayor of the CTFOC. Okay. Hi, magandang gabi po, Gina Maria Fontemayor.
Magandang gabi. Magandang gabi sa iyo, RJ. Maraming salamat. At napaka-importante ng gabing ito, ng araw na ito para sa ating lahat, para sa ating pagdiriwang. Ngayon ay ating inaalala ang ika-124 na araw na kamatayan ng ating pambansang bayaning si Jose Rizal. This is to commemorate the nationalism and martyrdom of Rizal. Ang katapangan ni Rizal na ipakita sa mga Kastila kung ano ang mga Pilipino ay isang matatak na gawain na mahirap kalimutan ng bawat Pilipino. Jose Rizal is a great example of the youth on how to become a great leader. As a leader, taking risks and assuming responsibility to lead is very difficult and challenging. Yet, he faced it with all bravery, causing him to even offer his own life for his country. Successful leaders know how to overcome fear and take calculated risks to face bigger challenges. To our Filipino American youth, knowing Jose Rizal is knowing more about your roots. Knowing him is realizing how strong, resilient, determined, and patriotic a Filipino is. In his poem, Sa Aking Mga Kababata, he wrote the famous line that we should always remember. Ang hindi marunong magmahal sa sariling wika ay daig pa ang hayop at malansang isda. This does not mean, though, that it's just the love for the Filipino language, but most of all, it's the love for one's own country. Knowing where you started, knowing your roots, is knowing your true characteristics. Ang pagmamahal sa sariling bayan ay pinatunayan ni Rizal sa pamamagitan ng pagbubuwis ng kanyang sariling buhay. Nagising ang mga Pilipino nang siya ay matapang na humarap sa kanyang kamatayan. To our Filipino American youth, remember that you are not only Americans, you are also Filipinos. Your skin may be fair, but remember, the Filipino blood still runs in you. The race where you belong is not only the race that you have known when you were born, but also the race where your parents have come from. As Filipino Americans, we should be proud that we have a beautiful heritage, a heritage that the world can even admire. We are not Jose Rizal, but we can follow the good things that he has done to our race and to our country. Mabuhay ang bansang Pilipinas. Mabuhay ang mga Filipino. Mabuhay ang mga Amerikanong Filipino. At mabuhay ang ating pambansang bayani, si Dr. Jose Rizal. On behalf of the Council for Teaching Filipino Language and Culture, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat at masaganang bagong taong darating. Salamat.
Thank you so much, Pogi ng Fontemayor, for your message.
Salamat din.
We also wish you a Happy New Year, a belated Merry Christmas, and please take care. And we look forward to having you in the virtual space this coming year, this 2021. Thank you so much. Up next, we also have another educator and member of the Council for Teaching Filipino Language and Culture. We would like to welcome Salvador Idos.
Again.
Oh, he is on mute. If we can have you unmute. Ginong Idos, pwede po i-unmute yung computer para po marinig namin kayo. Yan,
This
perfect
one.
po. Okay
Yeah.
na po, narinig na po.
Ayan. Okay, magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. Ako'y natutuwa na despite the pandemic, kahit na paano, we find time to celebrate Jose Rizal's Day. Ito'y isang bagay na nagpapatunay na talagang binibigyan natin ng halaga ang Rizal Day celebration. Sapagkat sa araw na ito ay ating inaalala ang mga katangian ng ating pambansang bayani sa Pilipinas na si Dr. Jose Rizal. This day is especially important for Filipino Americans because all of us, especially those born here in the United States, we are in our own travel in search of our Filipino heritage. And sa paglalakbay nito, in this travel, it's very important for you to know not only our American heroes, but also the heroes of our native land, the Philippines. So this is a very appropriate day for us to recall what made Jose Rizal the person that he is, the national hero of the Filipinos, and find out what's the relevance of Jose Rizal's life to our present day life, especially in these times of great challenges. Jose Rizal was a person who was imbued with superior intelligence, and intense love for his country. And he's the first Asian martyr to die for freedom and democracy. He was a man of peace, and yet the two novels that he wrote, El Filibusterismo and Nolame Tangere, were the two novels which imbued or which sparked the Philippine Revolution against the tyranny of the Spanish colonizers. Rizal was lived for only 35 years, but he was really a man of his was a life which was highly accomplished. In his novel El Filibusterismo and Jose Rizal, he exposed the abuses of the Spaniards. And even at the time, he felt that he will not live to see the independence of the Philippines. That's why he expressed these thoughts in the characters of his novels. In one of his novels, he said, "I die without seeing the dawn brighten over my native land. You who have it to see, welcome it, and forget not those who have fallen into the night. Ako'y mamamatay na hindi man lang matanglawan ang liwanag ng kalayaan. Kayo na papalaring makita siya, salubungin at palin. At huwag kalimutan ang mga nalugmok sa dilim ng gabi." I was only in the high school when I tried to memorize lines like this because it really touched my heart. Because in the Philippines, during my time, Nolime Tangere and El Filibusterismo were required reading. Now, what is you might not realize, but when the United States occupied the Philippines at the turn of the century, they didn't know how to handle the Philippines. There was this big debate in the US Congress trying to decide whether or not to keep the Philippines or to just leave it. What do we do with the Filipinos? And at the turn of the century, there was the St. Louis Exposition where the Americans brought to New York. They made a replica they brought actually the natives there, the Igorots, the Kalingas, the Tagbanwas, and minorities, all with their G strings and all of that. And then in that exposition, the Americans saw what they thought were the Filipinos, G strings and all of that. And so in the Congress, they thought that the Filipinos are like that and they're not capable at all of governing themselves. But then, according to the records, there is this Congressman Cooper, I think he's from Wisconsin, who stood in the Congress and recited in the Congress the last farewell of Jose Rizal, stirring poem was written by Jose Rizal, translated in several languages the world over. And so he challenged his colleagues. If the Filipinos are capable of having somebody who could love his country this much, who could write this beautiful poem expressing his love for his country, then these people are not at all hopeless. That there must be some hope for them to be able to be taught the tenets of democracy and for them to learn themselves. And so that episode started the change of attitude among the Americans until they decided to have the Philippine Commonwealth. It started in 1935, where the Philippines will be trained into the tenets of democracy, and 10 years later, for them to have their their independence, and which actually happened. Jose Rizal was really a man who was ahead of his times. One of the things that he wrote was The Philippines a Century Hence. And in that essay, he tried to foresee how the Philippines would look then, 100 years from his time. And he foresaw that should the Philippines become an independent country, the Philippines might, in most probability, will also inherit the many bad things that they learned from their Spanish colonizers, like the idea of patronage, which is very popular during that time, which until now is the root cause of graft and corruption in the Philippines. And so that is Jose Rizal. He was a keen student of Philippine society, and even he foresaw what's going to happen to his country in many years ahead. And Jose Rizal reminded us, ang hindi marunong lumingon sa kanyang pinanggalingan ay hindi makakarating sa kanyang paruroonan. Which simply means that he who does not know how to look back to his roots cannot hope to reach his destination in life. And so this is a challenge to Philams like all of us here, especially those born here. It's true, we're American citizens, but by blood, we are Filipinos. And so it's necessary for us to look back to our past. This is the solution to what could happen if we do not do so. We could fall into something like a identity crisis. It's important to look back, recognize our roots, and there's something to do with self-esteem so that we could better understand ourselves. So it's important to remember that we are no less American by knowing our roots, which is the Filipino heritage. And so, what is the in retrospect? What's the relevance of Jose Rizal now? Well, Jose Rizal is a man whose life is dedicated to freedom and democracy. And even now, whether we like it or not, in the United States, we are living a situation where our democratic way of life is under attack. And so, this is a challenge for all of us. Let us find in Jose Rizal, I hope that we get in Jose Rizal his intense love for freedom and democracy. And from that lesson alone is something which should help us carry on in our lives as Filipino Americans in our beloved country, the United States. Maraming salamat.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Poginong Idos. Really said a lot of information about about Dr. Rizal, and I think our viewers got really so much about his legacy, his works, and his as you mentioned, his highly accomplished life. And we just want to thank you thank you for the opportunity. Given this, even if we're in in a Zoom, a virtual platform, thank you so much for your presence. Thank you so much, Bob.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Of course. So up next on our program, we actually have a very special presentation from one of my co-moderators and Mira Mesa High School's Film Club co-president, Marcus Frazier. Hi, Marcus.
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. So just to get us started, we know that you took some classes with Ginang Lapid. You took Filipino classes. Can you mention to us what do you know about Dr. Rizal?
Well, I know that he's a Filipino nationalist who was around the time of the Spanish colonization. I know that he was a very important figure and ended up with going down as the nation's most famous hero.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So what the video that we will be showing is actually a song, a performance by you of the song "Ako'y Isang Pinoy." Can you just tell us what does the song mean to you?
Okay, so basically, I really like the song because it talks about embracing your Filipino heritage and like truly just finding out who you are as a Filipino. And to me personally, I feel like that speaks to me being a half African American, half Filipino kid. Um, people see me, they don't really see the Filipino side of me when they first
Yeah,
meet me, but then I like to show them like, yeah, I love our culture, I love our community. In the chorus of the song, Ako Isang Pinoy, they say the Honorable Jose Rizal once said, he told the country, a person who does not love his native tongue is much worse than a stinking fish. Is the chorus of what I sang. I really like that because it's like he's very passionate in his cultural identity and just being a true Pinoy and finding out what the true meaning is of being Filipino.
that's true. Yeah, you mentioned it. Thank you so much, Marcus. So now we are actually going to show your video.
Ako'y isang Pinoy sa puso't diwa, Pinoy na isinilang sa ating bansa. Ako'y hindi sanay sa wikang magabanyaga, ako'y Pinoy na mayroong sariling wika. Wikang pambansa ang gamit kong salita, bayan kong sinilangan, hangat ko'y lagi ang kalayaan. Sigat Jose Rizal nooy nagwika, siya ay nang pangaral sa ating bansa, ang hindi raw magmahal sa sariling wika ay higit pa ang amoy sa mabahong isda. Wikang pambansa ang gamit kong salita, bayan kong sinilangan, agad ko'y lagi ang kalayaan.
Yes. Thank you so much, Marcus. That was a really great performance. And we just actually just have one last question. We mentioned that you're the co-president of Mir Mesa's Film Club. So looking forward, do you have any message for the youth, as a student leader of a Filipino American student organization?
Yeah, if I were to give any type of advice to anybody younger than me,
Yeah.
I would definitely say please just get active in your Filipino community. It is very fun. I think personally, before I came into high school, my middle school was not fortunate enough to have a Filipino club or a Filipino class where I could learn more about my Filipino side. But once I joined high school, Ginang Lapid, and all of my other peers, they really helped me just like find what it really means to be Filipino and how to really express that.
Right. Thank you so much, Marcus, for your performance and for your message. We look forward to having you on our future programs next year. It's only a few hours away. Once again, thank you so much and take care.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So, as we head towards the end of our program, I would just like to share a really short excerpt of a speech, kind of like an essay that I did here in the US in commemoration of Dr. Jose Rizal's legacy. So there is no title, and that is the only preface that I can give. And again, this is just to show and celebrate our love and our honor for the national hero. Ang hindi marunong lumingon sa pinanggalingan ay hindi makakarating sa kanyang paroroonan. Itong siping ito ang aking motto sa buhay. Ito ang nagbibigay lakas sa atin, upang harapin ang mga pagsubok ng buhay. Nasa atin si Dr. Jose Rizal. Sa ating puso, isip at diwa, hinakatatak ang buhay at legasiya ng isang bayaning nagbubuhis ng buhay para sa kalayaan ng kanyang bansa. Subukin man ang panahon, unos at mga pagsubok, tayo mga Pilipino ay mayroong mga misyon sa buhay. Lahat tayo dito ay may gustong maiparating. Ang wikang Filipino ang ating nagiging inspirasyon. We are all advocates of the Filipino language. We are educators, teachers, leaders, change makers. But at the end of the day, at the end of everything, we are all Filipinos. Iba man ang ating pasaporte, tayong lahat ay mga Pilipino. So I challenge each and every one of you to use your knowledge, experiences, and intellects to influence our communities. I challenge you all to carry with you Dr. Jose Rizal's memory and legacy. He might not be with us at this moment and this time physically, but let me remind all of you that we are our own Dr. Jose Rizal. The one sitting beside you, in front of you, at the back of you, is Dr. Jose Rizal. A writer, a poet, a doctor. We are all Jose Rizals. Tunay nga na tayo mga Pilipino ay may ipagmamalaki sa iba't ibang bansa dahil binubuhos natin ang ating kakayahan sa lahat ng ating mga ginagawa. Ang mga iniwang alaala ni Dr. Jose Rizal ay magpahanggang ngayon isa na sa buhay ng bawat Pilipino sa amang parte ng mundo. Kahit sa mga susunod pang taon, dadaloy pa rin sa ating dugo at isip ang mga salitang binitawan ng bawat bayaning nagbubuhis ng buhay, lalo na si Dr. Jose Rizal, upang maipagpatuloy ang pinagtagumpayang kalayaan ng bawat Pilipino. So let us all go out there and be the Dr. Jose Rizal we are all meant to be. Let us continue what he, what they, what we have started. To carry the flag in our hearts, to sing our national anthem are symbols of our patriotism. Life carries on with Dr. Jose Rizal. Thank you so much, everyone. And I think we will be leave with you just a few facts about him to end with our trivia session. Again, this is just kind of like a fun side. Dr. Jose Rizal's height is actually 4'11", so he's not that tall. He also studied in the University of Madrid in Spain, and he has several statues and busts in different countries like Germany, Spain, and etc. He can also actually played a flute, and he authored and wrote his famous books, Noli Me Tangere and El Filibusterismo. And Luneta Park, where his remains can be found right now, is actually known as Kilometer Zero, which is a particular location, usually in the nation's capital city, from which distances are traditionally measured. And our last fact is he is the second son and seventh child out of 11 children of Francisco Mercado and Theodora Alonso. So those are 10 trivias. Once again, thank you so much for being here, for watching us on this virtual platform. And before we officially end, I would like to welcome back our hosts, Binibining Joanne Fields and Ginang Dita Simane for her parting messages.
Thank you for the beautiful essay. Thank you for the beautiful program that we enjoyed tonight. And you're living up to Dr. Jose Rizal. He has a quote stating for our youth, the youth is the hope of our future. And I believe our future is bright with all of you. You have demonstrated throughout this evening resiliency. Again, this program was put together in just hours when we realized, hey, we can't have our traditional and historically celebration at the plaza at Seafood City. And so thank you again for putting this together. Thank you, Ginong Idos and Ginang Maria, for making this an intergenerational program. Also with Ginang Lapid for, again, her resiliency and her resourcefulness to make sure that we have this program. And of course, with my co-host, Ditas, because we're here trying to figure out technology and behind the scenes with Jordan and Alan. Everything came together and it looks seamless. But we're having adventures back here. So again, thank you for putting the videos together. Thank you to all the organizations that convened this evening, and our special guest from up north, with Assembly Member Rob Bonta. And we would not be complete if we did not have a call to action. And you mentioned that action, Ardell, that we need to use our voices, that we need to show up. We not just for a one-time event. That we need to continue the legacy of our leaders, to make sure that our voices are heard. Our voices are loud and clear to our elected officials if we use it. We need to make sure the protections are there for our community as it relates to COVID-19, for our healthcare workers, our families, and our small businesses that we need to support and ensure that they survive the pandemic. We all are trying our best. We also need to make sure that we have our histories included in ethnic studies as we move forward into 2021 and the curriculums are being created. We need to advocate and make sure that we are woven into the fabric. The American history is inclusive of not just Filipino history. We are American history. So, with the celebration tonight, again, we want to close out with the call to action. And the call to action, we will be posting all the emails, addresses of the governor's staff to make sure that we can advocate and appoint Assembly Member Rob Bonta to become the next California Attorney General. You see that up on the screen. And make sure you send off an email. You can call. We'll post the phone number of the governor's office at a later time. But this is something we can do from home. We don't have to go straight to Sacramento. We have the contact information there in front of you. We have opportunities to speak before the County Board of Supervisors, the City Council in San Diego, Chula Vista, and National City to make sure, again, that we get our fair share of the American pie. We are taxpayers. We are a large constituency, and let us use our voice. Titas?
Yeah, thank you, Joanne.
Thank you, Joanne.
Maraming salamat
Maraming
po sa inyong lahat.
po sa inyo lahat and to all the people who are watching the streaming tonight for VOTFE. Maraming salamat to the youth who really took action on making sure that we have this commemoration, the 124th anniversary of our Philippine national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. I wish that you have heard the essay or the short essay from our jail, and I hope that you put that in your mind and in your heart, because it's really in all of us there is a Dr. Jose Rizal within us. May we continue to celebrate the heroes within us, and to our many kababayans here and afar who continue to serve our nation amidst this pandemic in this very difficult time. We focus on the good. We become heroes to everyone, small or big, young and old. We wanted to make sure that we be kind to one another. Again, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. We wish you all a very, very prosperous New Year, a very, very healthy 2021. Maraming salamat po at magandang gabi po ulit sa inyong lahat.
Thank you so much, Piniping Joan Fields and Ginang Ditas, for your message. It really means so much to have you on this virtual space. And to officially close, our event, we would just like to plug and give our special thanks to the folks and the community members that supported our program tonight. We have the Filipino Press, we have the Filipino Resource Center, the Mabuhay Foundation, courtesy of Ginang Titas, the Filipino School, Lumpia Club, Philameda, Asian Pacific Islander Initiative of Binibining Sean Fields, and for CTFLC, the Council for Teaching Filipino Language and Culture. And lastly, to the rest of the Wi-Fi production team who are on backstage, and those who are not with us, thank you so much, Jordan, Kuya Jordan, Alan, Ginang, Jackie, Magat Lapid, and to Marcus, my co-moderator, and our special performer for tonight. Thank you so much for that very wonderful performance. So I think that is all for tonight. Once again, thank you so much. Keep yourself safe. Follow COVID guidelines. Belated Merry Christmas, and looking forward to a very prosperous and safe New Year for everyone.